Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Power Rankings video for the Paladins Console League. And week 9 has just come to a close, which means we have 4 weeks remaining. That's right, weeks 10, 11, 12, and 13 closing out the season. Only 4 more weeks and still 3 divisions up in the air mathematically, although some of you may disagree. Just plain and simple, and kind of lean towards the top teams winning anyways. But still, the fact of the matter is that mathematically it's still possible for them to lose their playoff contended spot. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. At number 16 is Heating Up. Another week, another no-show. This time it came from Heating Up, who now has missed 3 weeks in phase 2 overall, I believe. However, it was due to them not being able to play with their newly acquired players after being given permission to add such players. Now, it may seem unfair, but within the rules, it states that players added to teams need to wait 7 days in order to play for that team or be eligible. So this does make sense in a way. Hopefully, they use this off time to continue their attempts at improving in the game and can finish out the season strong. Although strong is kind of a weird word to use for a team such as Heating Up. At number 15 is Aerial Rise. Now, Aerial Rise finally showed up to play this week. Not only that, they brought in 3 new players, with Paraslay and Alex Kidd being the only 2 returning members, and were able to not only take points from Iron Manor, but a map from them as well to push the set to 4 games overall. Now, the team still looks terrible play-wise, but some rays of light managed to break through those foggy clouds. Showing Up was one of them, winning a map was another, and the final was the new player Fabricetti? Don't know how to say that name, but he actually played decently, despite me having no idea who they are, along with the other 2 new players, Lou and Neo Venature. A little side note for all those keeping track of Paraslay, by the way, the guy who doesn't like playing easy champs like Victor is now 1-4 overall on Eevee in 2019. I think it's time to pull out the Victor more often moving forward there, bud. At number 14 is Stremix. This will be quick. Going against Onslaught, they aren't expected to win, but did play semi-decently and were able to score a few points versus them. Game 3 was even pushed to a 3-3 and had a slight chance to take the win, but ended up losing as, of course, expected. Way out of playoff contention, this team should not just give up and continue to work towards improvement, even if the players find themselves going their separate ways in 2020. At number 13 is Stush Gaming. Now, barely moving up in the rankings is Stush. They managed to take a few points from Flashpoint, but ended with the same results as usual. This loss was, of course, expected, and even thinking they will win a single map these days is kind of crazy to me. Tariq got absolutely farmed with the slash line of 1-10 twice this set, and continues to struggle with his transition to the tank role. The team drafted a Terminus and Makoa combo and had him on Makoa, while Alilol, the off-tank flanks, was seen playing Terminus, which is really weird since we usually see him as the Makoa player for Stush Gaming. Watching the game was even weirder, as you can see both tanks taking turns being the main and off tank, and not in that normal sense of way we're used to. To say the least, this odd strat still did not turn the game in their favor. And also out of playoff contention is this team, as every team discussed thus far is, and should be working on improving either as solo individuals or as a team to look for better opportunities in 2020. At number 12 is Absolutely Rain. Now, I actually feel bad for this team, as they are starting to gain a little steam and pushed game 5 from Bustdown. It may have been better had they were the original team to start off in phase 2 of this PCL. However, then I realized that they have Fluxy on DPS when he should be healing. Literally have only seen him do okay-ish on Kinessa in the past, and it just so happens they drafted it twice this week, one of them resulting in a victory. Tapsy is back on support and is decent, but he has seen better days on frontline in phase 1. But at the same time, they have Whitey and Sorrow, who are decent players respectively for the types of frontlines they play. Sorrow being the main tank and Whitey being the off tank. So swapping Tapsy doesn't seem logical, since he cannot play DPS and Whitey and Sorrow cannot play anything other than frontlines and are the better frontline. Thus leaving the team in a sticky situation and hardly being able to take 3rd place now. So finishing the season strong seems like their best option. At number 11 is Eternity Esports. And this team took another loss, and it was to Classified, which is sort of a blow, as I had hopes of them taking 3rd place and pushing Classified into a deeper hole that they've already dug themselves. The set was 4 games, and literally the only thing I can remember from it is watching Ian Hart as Victor on the side of Classified, on the Stone Keep game, being able to sustain a defense while standing on point facing 2 enemy tanks. The payload was literally inches from going in for eternity and wasn't converted. Not only this, but no one was on the objective for Classified except that Victor, who not only managed to stay alive, but also get a kill or 2. Unacceptable and terrible gameplay after some spurts of promise being shown in the past weeks. Bandmaid, the captain, has publicly said the team will show up to finish the season, but aren't looking to move up in the standings at this point, and instead start prepping for 2020, whether they stick together or move their separate individual ways as players. At number 10 is Classified. Well, they won, and you just heard my rant about the Victor being able to stay alive on the objective for about 2 minutes. Other than that, the team played decent enough to win. Nothing special happened here, and I am not surprised. Interesting enough, we witnessed Regan once again show his ability to flex on different champions and roles, and still show his inability to do it well. We watched Pickles play frontline again, as well as, which is always interesting, but pretty bland after about 5 minutes of it. I think he is a support and will always be a support in Paladins competitive. I will give him props though on the Stone Keep game, where he was hitting some pretty nasty dredge anchors with the Makoa. At number 9 is Bustdown. Another win for the Blueface inspired squad, but still doesn't matter. They are out of contention for playoffs, and in my opinion won't even see the light of finishing in 2nd place again. The team was pushed to Game 5 by Absolute Rain and started to look weaker despite being able to grind out the victory. A team that showed promise throughout the season but could never finish the job is slowly dwindling down to nothing. 2020 will be an interesting season, and seeing these players together is something I won't come to expect, or even watching them play on EU again. At number 8 is EStorm Gaming. Well, they had to face Hype Unit this week and was expected to lose 3-0 nonetheless, but didn't get to play ultimately. I want to emphasize the part that they didn't get to play as opposed to not showing up. The captain Counter is in charge of checking in, and did so correctly. He just forgot about the time zone difference as he is currently on vacation. I believe he lives in Mexico, but he's on vacation in New York City, so there's a huge time difference there. So instead of checking in 40 minutes before the deadline, he ended up checking in 20 minutes after said deadline. Unfortunate, but probably the same results. Unlucky, and prepare for next week, Eaststorm. At number 7 is Hydra Gaming, another team that actually didn't need to play due to a no-show, which was their opponent heating up. Hydra is still decent overall, and nothing has changed since week 8. Mathematically, they still have a chance at taking first place and making the playoffs. Now, I personally don't see it happening, but crazier things have happened in Paladins in the past, so who knows? They're still in it, mathematically. At number 6 is Vroom Vroom. Week 9 was the 3rd meeting with Cyclone Vroom Vroom, and not a successful one for the 2nd time. Now sitting 1-2 against the top team with one last meeting remaining, are looking to bounce back when it truly matters. This team needs to win out to have a chance. They also need someone to beat Cyclone for the best case scenario, and that is a tall order to ask from newly formed Absolute Rain or struggling Standstill Bustdown. They were able to take a single map from Cyclone this time to force Game 4, but will need to close out matches in the final 4 weeks to get within striking distance and make things easier for them during the chase. Now, is it possible? I say it is. This team isn't bad and is far from out of this, but also facing not so good odds that happen to be against them, of course. But they were able to beat Cyclone in their first matchup this season, and if they are able to do it again, then that could help them boost themselves back to first place. But beating the other teams is more importantly, and a little bit of luck with someone being able to beat Cyclone. Earn Manor comes in at number 5. Now, almost moving up in the rankings due to the top 4 teams giving up points to terrible teams was almost the story. However, giving up points to Aerial Rise and a map in general is a bad look, especially when Aerial has 3 rookies playing in the PCL for the first time ever, and not to mention how bad that team still is. They lost to Alex Kidd on Vivian. That cannot go unpunished, people. Earn Manor is still a good team, and much better than most teams in the league, obviously, but moving up won't happen this week. Could happen next week, but who knows. They still have a matchup against Flashpoint. At number 4 is Onslaught. I said they would fall, and giving up points to Stremix was the reason. Now, Flashpoint gave up points to Stush Gaming as well this week, but Stush, despite being terrible this phase, is still, in my opinion, a better team than Heating Up and Stremix. Onslaught could be a top 3 once again, but with the season winding down and a fight for first place against Hydra, I don't see the same nail-biting action as a Flashpoint versus Iron Manor playoff fight. Side note, Ghost has kind of calmed down this season. Swarmshi has improved, but the true carry for the team has turned out to be Ralkion most recently. Also, little side note again, Onishi stood on point for about 3 minutes before any of the Stremix players even realized. That won't be something they'll be able to get away with against land contending teams like Cyclone, Flashpoint, and Hype Unit. At number 3 is Flashpoint. At least you didn't lose to a map to Stush this time around, I guess. Giving up points isn't that big of a deal anymore, but with Iron Manor still in contention for the playoff spot, it's not the time to slack off, as you have been doing most recently. Word is the team is scrimming again with a set schedule, and hopefully WoW Classic grind has fallen on the priority list, as well as the COD beta being closed now. Time to get back to business, basically, because again, Iron Manor has a chance mathematically, and both teams sit at 7-1 in the standings. Number 2 is Cyclone. Now, beating Vroom Vroom has placed them this high on the list, along with some sketchy games coming from Onslaught and Flashpoint this week. They played well and slotted Luke back into the lineup. Vroom Vroom still has a chance and could use a boost from the other 2 teams in the division if they want a chance at taking first. Now, do I see this happening? Once again, not a chance, but Vroom Vroom still has another chance if it doesn't happen, where Bust Down or Absolute Rain can take a match against Cyclone. It'll just be more challenging and more of a numbers game. Cyclone looked good and hopefully will continue to knock out Bust Down and Absolute Rain in the coming weeks easily to close this one out. And at number 1, oh, look who it is again. It's Hype Unit. Once again, not having to play haunts the Hype Unit team, but the 3-0 does give them the satisfaction of clinching the playoff berth with no chance of losing it, even if they lost 0-3 in the last 4 weeks of the season. To be honest, they probably clinched last week, but I really never cared to check the numbers mostly. But most people would say they clinched before week 1 even began. But I like to keep an open mind to any miracles that may happen, I suppose. Well, that's it. That's another video down and another week down in the Paladins Console League. Stay tuned for the Paladins Minor League Power Rankings coming soon. And don't forget, I will be at HRX with exclusive trading cards for Paladins Esports, so don't forget to try and pick those up from me if you can. And follow us on Twitter at Console Pro News, of course. Follow me on Twitter at RealBlueTV with no E in blue. And of course, if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe right here at this YouTube. I think the button is down there. No, it's down there. Wherever it is. Either way, you can click our name over there and subscribe, or you can click the sub button. Whatever. You guys get it. Keep grinding, everyone.